I used to shoot pistols a lot when we were allowed to have pistols, and then they took those off us. And I thought, oh, yeah. This is,
I'm out. This is not America.
No, boys, this is a slippery slope. This is why you've got to look after that public land, because they all start their little steps, and before you know it, and if you look at the States now, you've got some very interesting things going on both coastlines, and you need the one way to win this is to embrace what you're getting out there, and that is the justification for the meet.
Welcome to the Rich Outdoors, where we break down the tips, tactics, and strategies of hunting's greats to not only help you become better hunters, but to motivate and inspire you between hunting adventures. For more about us, including additional resources on our guests and links to everything we cover in the interview, check out therichoutdoors.net. This episode brought to you by iSocialBoost. iSocialBoost is an Instagram growth tool that can help you grow your tribe in an organic way. iSocialBoost has been helping me grow the Backcountry Fuel Box Instagram for the last couple of months, and I have been blown away with just almost over 7,000 followers now, and they're helping me convert followers into subscribers. Whether you're a small business or just want to grow your personal following, iSocialBoost can help you get thousands of real followers that actually fit your brand. I've actually been so impressed with them that I'm having them start to grow the podcast Instagram as well, and helping get exposure to the podcast for all those people that maybe don't even know it exists. Check them out. If you want to give them a try, you will not be disappointed. Head over to isocialboost.com. Use the promo code TRO and you'll get 80% off your first week. They're so sure that you're going to love it. They're basically giving it to you for free. Go check it out if you want to grow your small business or just grow your personal brand. Instagram is a great place to do it. Check it out. Today's episode brought to you by onX Maps. onX Maps, the most trusted private public mapping system available. And anymore, I don't go anywhere without my onX Maps downloaded and ready to go. The onX Hunt app, available for your iPhone, which turns your smartphone into a handheld GPS that works with or without service. With over 400 map overlays, the possibilities are endless. I love the ability to switch from topo to satellite to hybrid modes, allowing you to actually see the terrain. The onX Hunt app also allows you to share locations with your buddies extremely easily too. I find myself using this feature all the time. I love that feature, being able to share locations with buddies, whether you're hunting or just doing whatever. You can also log into your onX account from multiple sources. So it means you can scout from your desktop or your tablet and then go explore with confidence on your smartphone or your GPS. onX membership is a must-have for any serious Western hunter. So crucial these days to hunt with confidence and know where you stand with onX membership. Save 20% off your membership when you sign up, or you just renew with the Rich Outdoors promo code TRO. Alrighty, guys, welcome to the podcast. Rob, how we doing?
Yeah, good. Yeah, good to be here, Cody. Yeah.
On a trip, aren't you?
I'm on a huge trip. I hired a car in Denver, Colorado.
You ruined that car.
Yeah, took all the 24 fucking hours before that car. So I turned up and my
First off, who rented you a Porsche?
No.
And second off, they won't do it again because that thing is destroyed.
I didn't have a Porsche. I had a normal SUV thing or whatever you call it, and I saw that and I said, "Fuck, I like that. How much is that going to charge?" And the woman said, "Oh, that's another $40 a day." And I said, "Oh, come on, I'm Brit. You're gonna look after me." Anyway, she did a real good deal, and I said, "I'm having that." And normally we don't bother insuring them, right? And thank fuck, Paula actually insured that one because literally I'd had it 24 hours, and as you can see outside, the windscreen's gone and every body panel is stoved in.
Yeah, Rob told me, he's like, we came through a hell of a storm, blah, 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 the hail. And I walked by the car, and I've heard of that happening in Texas and other places, but I've never legitimately seen, and it's a white little SUV Porsche looking thing, and it looks like a freaking golf ball. Like it is dented. Every panel is dented.
Looks like the ball getter at a driving range.
Well, I was going to take a walk up to the restaurant, and I thought, oh, I'll drive. I'm bloody glad I did, because there was a guy that was chatting to on a motorbike, and he didn't look too pretty when he got to the other end. And he said, I mean, he had his helmet on clearly, and there was some body armour, but he said, shit, I'm stoved in, mate. But they were nasty. I thought somebody was shooting at me. But I haven't done anything.
How big was the hail?
Yeah, like golf balls.
Like golf balls.
I tried to video it, but anyway, shit, I'm crap at videoing, so you just have to believe me, boys. But it was, they were golf ball size, fucking hailstones. And that's got a glass roof, and I thought, if that roof goes, I'm in a bit of bother here. Yeah.
Just pull over and get in the back seat.
Yeah.
That's got to hurt getting hit by golf ball size hail.
Yeah.
Anyway, so welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, no, thank you, Cuddy. It's been a wicked few weeks. I'm 2 weeks into a 5-week journey, and I've been down to see the Recoil magazine guys, Macmillan Stocks. I've done a load of stuff. I helped train a load of girls to shoot in Utah. Actually, not shoot, but hunt. Shoot.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's a big difference in
practical shooting.
Yeah, practical shooting. Sitting on your ass, making it uncomfortable, using the tools that we make to try and make them hit that target. And I was really pleased with how they all turned out. They all hit them.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. You're an interesting story, to say the least, and how we met. So here's a funny story. I don't even know if you know this story, because when I met you, you were going 1,000 directions at one time.
Yeah.
At the sheep show.
Yeah.
Stuff was flying off the shelf. I'd never even heard of your company.
Yeah.
And my buddy Carl Blanchard, Carl, if you listen to this is all because of you and Dot's Pretzels. But my buddy Carl's like, hey, you got to swing by and get this bipod. They're doing a deal. So I swing by, and you and I kind of chatted a little bit, and it was like all heck broke loose, and everyone was purchasing everything in there.
Yeah.
But it was a good show.
Oh, it was brilliant. It was just, it's always like that for us. We're like just over 4 years old, and you can write the first 2 years off because nobody fucking knows who you are.
I didn't know who you guys were.
And we started a British shooting show, and we had like your table, I guess it's like 5 foot by 4 foot, something like that.
Yeah.
That was our demonstration. We put a bit of plastic green grass on there and some rocks from Norway. And we showed people how the bipods went, and it was a tough start. It really was a tough start, and we don't have a budget for marketing or sales, so it's all word of mouth. But I'm going to use the American word stoked. Is that right then? Yep. About how America has embraced what we've done, and the Brits. Europe's great for us. Europe's flying. Germany, Austria, the Scandinavians love our gear. We sell a bucket load down in New Zealand as well, serious hunters. But the UK was really the slowest place to take off. And I don't know what that is. Maybe it's a cultural thing. But sorry, Britain. I don't feel loved there.
Well, tell everyone where you're from.
So, my background is really, I love the outdoors. And you could put ice axes in my hand. You could put a fly rod in my hand. You could put a rifle in my hand. And any of those things are an excuse to be outdoors for me. So I'm a passionate outdoors person, and I like using good equipment. And I thought that the shooting industry was in the dark ages and could move forward. And that's not because the products hadn't made, it's the technology's advanced. So I'm not blaming what was out there. I just thought there's better technology. And I have an aviation background. I thought we can do things a bit better here. And so that's really what drove me forward, I guess.
So you kind of want to be in the hunting industry. I guess not want to, you are. Where does that stem from? How did you get into hunting?
So
where you're from?
I don't come from a hunting family. My father was he was editor of Radio Times, big selling publication into sport, football, cricket, tennis and all that kind of shit. Bored the fuck off me. I can't cope with anything. I'm no good with the balls. I got into climbing real early. Right, yeah. And I like climbing because you're often working with a tiny little unit, maybe 2-3 guys, and you get to know each other very, very well. And you know each other's strengths and weaknesses, and I've always liked working in little units like that. And I think...
What is it about that?
I think climbing I'm not competing against others, I'm competing against myself. That's the honest. It's a good question. I'm driving myself and I'm testing myself all the time and thinking, and I've had some shitty situations in climbing, and I think anybody that's climbed enough will say the same, where you think, fuck, I've really screwed up here. And you can screw up in hunting, and I have screwed up in hunting, but, you know, with fly fishing, it's not as drastic unless you're going to drown. But with hunting, if you screw up a shot, and I've screwed up just like the rest of them, you know, but with climbing, if you screw up, it can be fatal. And there's been times where I honestly thought, this is game over, boys. This is a bit dodgy.
What is it about that pushes you? Like, they could take a million directions.
Yeah.
Anybody who knows my podcast, we take about 30 left turns and end up back in the same place.
It keeps it interesting, though. But what is it about it? For me, it's testing yourself.
But why something? I'm getting to a point with this, but why something that could possibly kill you? Something that you've found yourself in that situation where you thought it was over. Why do you keep doing it?
Well, I stopped when I had kids for a few years, actually, because I got into a situation where I thought, fuck, this is selfish now. And that properly scared me. And then I completely went back and I got divorced and went almost not suicidal, but then I started really pushing the boundaries. But I could ask you, why do you go out there for 20 days, Cody?
Well, here's where I was circling around to this. It's because we had this conversation earlier as we were eating elk steaks about the meat argument.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, you being across the pond and having this entirely different perspective of what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah.
And me having this argument that the meat argument, while valid, is thin.
Yeah.
Because it's not the whole picture. It's not why I do it. So I'm curious because I see all the similarities to rock climbing, to backcountry skiing, to all these hardcore sports of why I do it. And I don't have the answer because I'm still formulating that, right?
Yeah.
Like we talked earlier, I'm only 32. I don't know shit.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like trying to figure out, looking at you, why do you rock climb?
Well, wait until you're 55, Cody. I don't know shit either. You're learning.
Older, just as dumb.
I just think, and there's a lot of people that go through life and do fuck all, right? And don't test themselves and never really live. Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes complete sense.
I will go out into a mountain environment or into a hunt or do something like that, and then I will come back and I will put that electric kettle on. And do you know what? I really appreciate it because it's easy.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry if I stink, guys, because I've been out in the woods for the last 2 nights and I've just, I washed in your Madison River. So, but basically, no, I just love being outdoors and I love pushing. And I don't get me wrong, I like a nice hotel room just like the best of us, but I can't appreciate those things until I've suffered a bit. If that makes sense.
No, it makes complete sense. But I find it interesting, almost comical, that someone, not yourself, but someone who is, say, an ice climber, a mountain climber, a mountaineer of any kind, right, could look at hunting and be like, well, why the hell do you trophy hunt? Why do you, if you do it for the meat, that's fine, but why? And so it's like, because there's an animal's life involved, it changes the perspective. And I acknowledge that. And I do it for the meat, but at the same time, like we talked about, I'm going to go sheep hunt the hardest hunt in the country.
Yeah, see, I need to be on that.
And you're coming with me because you got mountain climbing experience. And this is the thing is like, is that the best acquisition of meat? No.
No. And I completely get that, but for me, and this might be, actually you're making me question but for me, it makes it, I can justify it. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Because I actually don't like taking something, I don't like killing something, if I'm honest. I enjoy the hunt, the whole thing, the whole adventure, and I'm not going to take it away, but the fact that I can eat it at the end of the day completely justifies it. Now,
which is great, because the people coming into this, and this is the conversation we had earlier, the people coming into this is how we tell ourselves, right? Like, if you don't have any experience in this, how you justify it to yourself is, well, I'm going to eat the meat.
Can I turn it 180?
Go.
I'm going to justify it because I do.
It always does a 180.
I do not want to fucking eat hormone-injected meat. I'd go veggie. I honestly would go veggie now if I can't eat decent quality food. Yeah. Right? So that's what justifies it for me. And I'm one of the lucky few in Europe that's able to do that and say that. Over here, you have a completely different gambit because you have that public land and everybody's got a right to put in a tag and go. And I think that's absolutely tremendous.
But we also, not to take another one, Eddie, God damn it. We also have, small ranchers. We have small ranches that care about their meat, cattle, as much as.
I don't have an issue with that.
Yeah, that's the other argument. But back to your point.
We have 7 billion people living on the planet, so I'm not here to slate intensive farming, because if we didn't have intensive farming,
you don't
guess
feed
what?
7 billion people.
We'd have some world wars kicking off now.
Yep.
So I'm just being quite selfish that I don't want to eat intensively farmed meat. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think there is a growing tribe of people now that are actually getting it and thinking, oh, this is good. I want to go and, look, let's be simple. I want to go and catch that thing. I want to prepare it. I want to cook it. I want to turn this. It's something you can do with the whole family. It's getting back to basics and what we're really here and what we're doing. And you can say the same about climbing with fly. I mean, I nearly got shot at Madison. I said, oh, can I kill a trout? Right. Oh, no, it's all catch and release, man. I said, well, that sort of defeats the object for me. I'm going to catch a lovely trout. I'm not going to go and, if I catch 20, I didn't catch 20, by the way, guys, I caught 2 and they were 6 inches long. Right. But if I had caught 20, there's no way I'm going to kill 20. But if I'd been sleeping out. If I'd wanted to cook one for the evening, I'd have probably royally enjoyed that. But
catch and release is a whole other conversation.
Well, you're putting a hook in. You're torturing that.
You're killing 30% of the ones you catch.
Yeah, exactly.
What is the freaking point of this game? That does not make any sense.
And actually, if you're going to get slated by anybody, it's the catch and release trouty people.
Oh, absolutely.
You can't kill that. You can't.
You kill 30% of what you catch.
Yeah,
just by touching it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's insanity.
Yeah.
Anyway, I want to get back to a little bit about this estate that you managed. I'm super curious about hunting in Europe. So first off, let's go way back. You didn't hunt.
Yeah, no, I didn't grow up hunting. I mean, I grew up with an air gun, killing everything I could possibly kill, like most kids. Not particularly proud of it, and I've grown up a little bit now, and much more selective in what I kill. But I would be royally punished for probably all the things I did as a kid. But that was my driver. I just loved hunting, and it was obviously in my DNA. And
which is crazy to me, and it's not. It's crazy and it's not crazy because obviously DNA doesn't work on a single century time frame. But the fact that you didn't know anyone that hunted.
No.
You don't, not from a background.
No, not at all.
It's not even like the people you were around hunting.
No, absolutely. Everything was stacked against me to get into hunting. And it would have been much more beneficial if I'd grown up in a country like America, that if there was a young Mr. G that was 16 here now, he could have an opportunity. In the UK, it's almost impossible to get into that. I thank the airgun world for that, really, because the airguns was much more flexible in the UK, and you could go and shoot pigeons and rabbits and bits and pieces, and that, if you knew a farmer, they were a pest. So, and we shot a lot of things, and we ate a lot of strange things, but we had a lot of fun doing it. But that was clearly where my passion was. But is my passion in hunting, or is my passion just being outdoors? Yeah. Now that's a good one, because if I had to give up the ice axes, the fly rods, or the rifles, I'd have a difficult call on that. I mean, the ice axes are gone anyway, really.
But you just found a bow, so let's throw that.
Oh shit! Well, I'm going to blame Aaron. Well, Dana from Kifaru. She just killed it for me. So I was teaching these girls at the Weatherby ladies hunt thing, and that was pretty good. And Dana was there with a bow, and she said, "Oh, Kieran, you've got to have a go at this." And I said, "Yeah, bloody right." Well, 12 arrows later. Shit, I was in love with it. I just thought, this is where I need to be. And now it's made me quite angry because we're not, for all you American listeners, we're not allowed to hunt with bows in the UK.
That's insanity.
Yeah. And actually, certainly in the south, maybe not Scotland where it's all open, but in the south where I come from, in Sussex, Surrey and such like, it's really wooded, a bow would be the perfect tool for what we're doing. And it would be proper hunting, proper stalking, because you can get really close to the deer if you know what you're doing, the winds are right and such like, and if you're solo. It would be absolutely an awesome thing to do. And I was talking about that Danish guy, I don't know his name, Always Hunting DK or something. He's done a really good job in Denmark, because in Denmark, I understand you can hunt roe deer, which are a Labrador-sized deer in Denmark with a bow, and yet you can't hunt red deer. I mean, where's the logic in that, you know? So he did a video in New Zealand, and he's gone back to the government. I think he's got some limited approvals now. So he's making good progress.
Pedro does a lot with that too, as far as
yeah, he's good. Yeah.
He hunts a lot in Spain.
Yeah, he's really passionate about the bow hunting as well. So and he's a good dude. Yeah,
oh yeah. I was supposed to hunt with him actually this spring, but got busy.
Yeah.
I don't know where time goes.
Shit happens, doesn't it?
Shit happens.
Yeah.
Bulgaria.
Oh,
I
yeah.
heard that's amazing hunting.
Yeah, well, Bulgaria would be fantastic hunting.
You
Yeah,
can do it with a bow.
yeah.
You can kill every species that's in Europe.
Yeah, you've got a lot. That eastern part of Europe is just, it's got a huge potential there. There's a mate of mine, Artemis. He's from former Croatian. I think, sorry, Tomo, Serbian, Croatian, I can't remember. He's going to kill me for that. But he's probably pretty good at it. But he takes a lot of people out there, and he's very good at it, very knowledgeable guy. And I went pig hunting out there with him a couple of years back. And, yeah, really pulled.
So how'd you end up hunting? How'd you end up
So how did
finding
I
your
end up?
place?
Do you know what? That's a real good question. I got to know people. I used to shoot pistols a lot when we
Okay.
were allowed to have pistols, and then they took those off us. And I thought, oh yeah. This is, look,
I'm out.
This is not America.
No, boys, this is a slippery slope. This is why you've got to look after that public land, because they all start their little steps, and before you know it, and if you look at the States now, it's like lots of different, well, it's always been lots of different countries, but you've got some very interesting things going on both coastlines, and you need, the one way to win this is to embrace what you're getting out there, and that is the justification for the meat.
Yes.
Because
I can't.
No, but it's an important one, Cody, because I can't justify it by putting a trophy on the wall. That's a byproduct to me. The meat is the end game.
It's true.
I don't mind. I quite like to, because it's a memory, right? It's a memory you're putting on the wall. It's like a painting. It's a picture. But if I couldn't eat the meat, would I shoot it? In my view, I probably wouldn't. But that's my personal view. I'm not judging anybody else for that.
The other slippery slope that we have is that you're talking about an argument that involves more bureaucracy.
Yeah.
Which leads, where does that lead?
Yeah.
It leads down a road
Yeah.
of more totality,
Yeah.
which leads to no fucking pistols.
Yeah.
So it's a slippery slope. That's a deep well I'm not
Yeah.
getting into today.
Yeah.
But I mean, no one's going to argue that public land is the most important thing.
Yeah. It's a fantastic asset.
But there's a management issue in this country.
I understand that.
And there's a bureaucracy
Yeah.
issue.
Yeah.
And so
And I wouldn't get into the politics of that, because I'm not educated to know. But it's just, I know you've got a lot of standing timber that doesn't get managed, and it burns, and you have problems with that. And there's two sides. But tread carefully, boys. That's all I'm going to say. Because
This is
what's
true.
happened in the UK is,
But what is good today is not so good tomorrow.
we don't know that, do we?
We don't.
No.
But
We're not here tomorrow
there's
yet.
a lot of history
Yeah.
that will prove you otherwise.
Yeah. But like I live on Ashdown Forest. That's an old private hunting ground
Of
of Henry VIII.
Henry you hunt
Yeah.
on Henry
Well, I do now, but if I'd hunted when Henry VIII was hunting, and I got caught poaching, because it would have been
Okay,
poaching,
go back.
they'd have blinded me or killed me.
I know.
Yeah,
I want to tell
so-
that story. Okay, so someone just got really lost in this podcast. We're going to back up. How did you... This goes back to how did you get into hunting? And then
Yeah.
how did you get the property
So,
you have
lost
now?
the pistols.
Talk about, we lost, you were shooting pistols, you lost the pistols. But specifically, I want to know, like, how... In the UK, how does hunting work? How does the properties work? Things
Good
like
question.
that.
Good question. So, okay, land is privately owned. We do have public land, but not, as far to the best of my knowledge, not public land that you can hunt on unless you do it through the Forestry Commission or whatever. So let's say, for argument's sake, most of the land is privately owned. You have estate managers that work for those wealthy landowners that have to manage the animals on that land. So the good thing about the UK is I believe it's done very professionally, right? You get a few people doing a lot of deer management, for example, so they tend to be quite good at it. There's exams that you need to take. You don't need to take them, but pretty much everybody stipulates you do them, and they're pretty thorough. They're pretty good. So that's really good. The other good thing is you have colleges in the UK that you can go and become a gamekeeper or deer manager or whatever. And those guys and lots.
What is a gamekeeper in the UK?
A gamekeeper, okay. So if you take a grouse moor or a pheasant shoot, for example, the big privately run shoots where people can go and pay to shoot pheasants or grouse, the gamekeeper will be the person in charge of looking after that game. So if you take a grouse moor, for example, his job will not only be to ensure the grouse are well managed and looked after, he'll also look after the fox, the predators, manage the predators. So it's a full-on job. And they tend to really know their game. Excuse the pun.
Yeah.
But,
so it's managed more on a micro scale.
It's managed on a micro scale on each estate. They'll all talk to each other. They'll have a sort of blanket plan for a region. So, like Northwest Scotland, they'll all work together. Or
what are the plans? Are they trophy management?
No.
Within the state, we have trophy areas. We have opportunity.
We don't. Very few places now manage on trophies. So, for example, if you came and hunted with me in Sussex.
Which needs to happen.
It needs to happen. We're not going to be hunting trophies. We're going to be taking the older ones out, the weaker ones out, or the poor ones. You know, the good. So if you saw me in the woods, Cody, I'm 55. I'm done.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to take me out. You're 32. You're in your prime. You might have a few years left. Right. So there's gearing. Poof. Right, but so we're managing the deer, but we're managing also because amongst those estates are farmers. There's tenant farmers. They might not, they rent their farms and they get pretty pissed off if they planted sort of 40 acres of grain and then guess what? You've got 40 fallow munching on it every night. So there's a lot of drivers and forestry. We grow a lot of timber, so they need to be managed. So yeah, there's a couple of estates I look after. There's a small crew of us. We do take clients out.
How'd you get into looking after
So
Henry
this is
VIII
this
or
was
Fitz?
right. Okay, so Henry VIII.
Henry VIII's estate.
Henry VIII.
You just met him at the bar?
Oh, yeah,
Hey, I got this.
Yeah. I did have hair back in 1580. Right. But no, Henry VIII, so basically the kings or the royals had their private hunting estates, right? And that was just for the royals and their friends and their knights and whatever. So hunting, its history, its bloodlines, if you like, in the UK are very elitist, right? And that is the thing that I think is so remarkably good about here and about New Zealand, right? The fact is it's not elitist. And I think that's really, really quite key, and it's something that rubs me quite negative. Look, if you've got money, you can go and hunt in the UK, if you've got a pile of cash. If you're lucky like me and you know estates and you're good at what you do, there's a good chance you'll get in with a crew and help manage deer. And that's what really happened to me. So
so basically,
this question. Right? You might start on an estate, for example, managing the rabbits and foxes. And when you've proved your ground or you've done your apprenticeship for a few years, they might say, well, look, you might come in and now help with the deer. But the deer have got a much higher status, wrongly or rightly. I'm not going to get in to be judged on that. They're all animals. Yeah. But basically, the rabbits cause huge problems. The foxes cause huge problems. So those are the deer are less in numbers, and there's a value to those, much higher than selling a rabbit to the butcher for 50p. You know, all of the deer we shoot, for example, will go straight into the food chain, right? Unlike yours, where you probably keep it for your own consumption.
Mm-hmm. Wait, what? Where do you choose? Yeah, there you go.
So ours will go to a game dealer. The game dealer will process that deer, right? So we remove the green. We don't take the skins off them. We remove the head, the legs, and such like. And the the game dealer will pick those deer up and pay you, or the estate, let's say £2 a kilo. Sorry, American. Let's say $2 a pound, something like that, and weight. And so that goes straight back into the estate's coffers. So it actually, it's a money, it's a business. Yeah.
Do you have the option to keep it for yourself.
Yeah. And, if I shoot one that's 2 years old and it's young and it's a female and it's the right time of year, it's going into my life. Yeah. If it's an old, ranty, old, rutting, fallow deer,
fallow deer?
Fallow stink. When the rut's on, I wouldn't give you tuppence for them. Yeah. And the trouble is, when you're doing them, they jizz all over you as well. They're just, are we allowed to say that?
That's a party I don't want to go to.
It's just not good, guys. Yeah. So I wouldn't give you tuppence for those things.
What's a tuppence?
Tuppence, 2 pence. Yeah,
Oh,
2
2
cents.
pence.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it's exciting hunting though. Yeah.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, when they're going on. Yeah. But they are proper stinky.
So what's game management plan?
So the game management plan, there's a lot of homework that goes into that. So those 2 estates that we look after near us, it's probably, as I say, we will shoot between 280 and 320 deer a year.
Holy.
Right? And you're talking about maybe a collective of 10,000 acres. So relative to 10,000 acres here, that's a huge amount of deer that are compressed into a tiny unit of land. And we're not touching it.
What's the ground like? I mean, are we talking valley ground, mountain ground?
Valley, but very wooded. Sussex, where I live, is, I believe, the most wooded county in the UK.
I need a map.
Yeah.
We should
So
pull a map
we're like London's here, it's down, and then Brighton's right on the coast, and we're smack in the middle. So tiny landmass. Yeah. I mean, we've got
10,000 acres seems like a lot of ground, though.
Well, yeah, but 320 deer or 208 is a lot of deer, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But yeah, I wouldn't have thought you'd think that over here. I mean, look at this. I'm sitting you're looking out your window and I'm feeling pretty bloody jealous right now. Yeah.
It's still 10,000 acres.
Yeah.
Like, that's a bit
But
of ground.
it's 10,000 acres that will be, it's not all wood. There'll be farms in amongst that. There'll be houses. There'll be things that you need to be aware.
So this is super nerdy on me on the whole
I know there's no such thing as a nerdy question in this game.
It's one landowner.
That's a family. That's
an
an estate.
estate.
It's managed by a whole
so
family.
the
There is normally in these estates, because of tax reasons that I don't even pretend to know, but often they're owned by or managed by a trust for the family, and then the collective of the family, and then they all meet and they form these opinions and ideas, and then they will meet with the estate manager, and the estate manager say, well, Joe Bloggs here is really giving us hell because he can't grow any crops anymore. And it does get that bad.
Cut his hand off.
Yeah. He said, we've got to manage it. We've got to hit the deer a bit harder here and blah, blah, blah. So there'll be a lot of thought and that I don't get involved in. I'm not at that level. I'm just at the level where I'm the trigger puller, really. So I'm at the lowest of the low. And I will take clients
within
out.
that society. You say the lowest of the low, but within that society what's your role in that? What's the hierarchy's view of deer?
I won't even meet the trust owners, trust managers. I meim it is so elitist. I mean, you probably think it's quite freaky, but they won't. All they'll be interested in are the people that are controlling the deer, qualified to do the job. That's all they're worried about.
What's their view on the deer?
Oh, right. Cool. How long have we got? Right. Okay. So that depends on what estate you tend to be on. So a lot of the estates really do like having the deer, but they like them managed. They like
the deer to the point where it doesn't affect the bottom dollar.
Exactly. They want to see the deer around. They might even, some of the estate owners will want to shoot a few. They don't want to be doing 320 of them, but they will want to go out. They might want to invite people to do it. They'll enjoy a bit of the venison. You'll always keep a bit back for the estate owners. That often happens. But other estates now, quite controversial. There are certainly some estates I can think of in Scotland. They're absolutely hammering the deer, and they want to almost eradicate them, certainly the reds, because they want to grow a lot more trees. And it's a bit like your public land. There's two arguments, right? Yeah. And there's perfectly good arguments, sound arguments on both sides. So hopefully common sense will prevail and you'll meet somewhere in the middle.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We were talking about how the view of hunters within the UK has changed.
Yeah.
Talk about that a little bit. And give me a timeline. This is one thing I don't know because we never talked about it earlier. So, go back, let's say 20 years.
20 years, we wouldn't be having the problems that we are facing now. Completely different gambit. It's changed dramatically.
20 years ago, what was the...
20 years, people would have been very happy if you turned up on their door and given them a rabbit or a pigeon. You know, people would have been grateful for it. So if somebody had gone, a local farmer had gone shooting, and there was very much a shared culture, and you gave your neighbours a rabbit or if they'd be chuffed. If I knocked on somebody's door now and said, "Would you like this rabbit?" they'd probably tell me to fuck off. Yeah. Right? But ironically, they'd be the people that I think, "Oh, you shouldn't kill it anyway." But ironically, they'd be the people eating the fucking burgers out of Tesco's, the supermarket, right? Or the avocados that are killing the butterfly population. Sorry, veggies, but you can't have it all way. You're killing stuff too.
I don't think there's any veggies that listen to my podcast. Just going to go on a limb.
But it's honestly, it's crazy. And it's very sad. But
the interesting
No.
Okay,
Cody,
go ahead.
Sorry, I'm do a British blabbing on it. But I do think it's turning. Maybe I won't see it because I'm old and fucked. But certainly I think my kids will, because... You take Jenna, for example, my oldest daughter. She does a lot of shooting. She's got a big, for the UK, she's got a big following. And she's got a lot of greenies following her. Greenies, and I think we were talking about this before the podcast, that actually said they're greenies because they don't like intensive farming practices. Well, guess what, guys? We've got 7 billion people living on the planet. If we didn't have intensive farming, we'll have a world war. What's worse? Yeah. So we need it. It's just I'm not wanting to eat intensively farmed food. Yeah. And I have the luxury to be able to do that. And as does Jenna, and actually a lot of the people that are following her saying, well, if I could eat meat that I knew it came from that sort of background and it had a proper life and blah, 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 do you know, I don't have a problem with it. So I call them almost meat avoiders rather than veggies. Does that make sense?
No, that makes sense. Veggies is close to what we call vegans.
Yeah, I did big difference though, vegans and veggies. I mean, yeah. Vegans need their, that's the whole, come on, fuck's sake. You cannot live properly as a vegan, right? And we do have a few canine teeth there. And
Hey, Darwin was a smart guy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm completely for, like, yep, go. We should make a vegan island.
Yeah,
seriously. We'll see who survives.
Yeah, go for it.
But wait until who becomes the first one to eat each other.
Right?
Oh, that looks pretty tasty. Honestly, I mean, you think about those guys in Argentina when that played, they all ended up eating each other. It's just, if people are getting back to what we first started, nobody's hungry anymore. Nobody really tests them. Well, no,
life
we
is
do.
Easy.
Here. We choose to do it.
No, this is endlessly fascinating to me because life becomes easier and easier and easier. That's the role of life, right?
This Bighorn bourbon whiskey is getting endlessly fascinating. I didn't even think I liked whiskey until I tried this. Yeah.
But this podcast is apparently brought to you by Bighorn Bourbon Whiskey out of Ennis, Montana. Rob brought this to us, and it's tasty.
It is very good.
It's so tasty, that entire bottle's
it's gone.
Just about gone.
Sorry, Cody. I rudely interrupted there.
I'm endlessly fascinated with this entire change of mentality around it, but also around specifically like a rock climber or any other person that pushes themselves to the limit. Right? The world has become easy, and that's fine. Everything that's ever done, right? Like things are produced to make our world easier. But that's what we do. But then it becomes so friggin' easy that you become sedentary. Most of the 7 billion become sedentary. They get their food from the supermarket. They live in a home and they work and they just live this life. Right?
And I'm going to be really controversial here and probably upset a load of people. I don't know, your listeners, but you also with that change, you start looking after the lowest common denominator. And I'm sorry, guys, you start looking after the lowest common denominator, and I'm talking humans, you're screwed.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, people need to take a responsibility themselves to look after themselves, right?
Yeah.
If we were having this conversation 200 years ago in the States, or even let's say 50 years ago, if you didn't look after your family, nobody's going to come and knock on your door and help you. Maybe your neighbours, maybe you're lucky, but you would as a community. But now we're trying to pick up the pieces for everybody out there. And fucking guess what? It doesn't bloody work.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've
Well said.
done that in the UK to the nth degree, and it really pisses me off. And I'm sorry if anybody wants to shoot me for that, but I'm fucking take responsibility for your lives, guys. You know, at the end of the day, right? I don't judge anybody for what they want to do. I don't want to be judged. I'm not, you know, at the end of the day, but stop trying to look after everybody. Take a responsibility. Take that net away and make people take some responsibility themselves.
Oh, man.
If the
Absolutely.
animals don't look after themselves, what happens to them?
They die.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so
It's crazy. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I said, this conversation is full of a lot of deep wells, but it's good. I'm fascinated, your perspective, just coming from the UK.
yeah.
And, you know, to say you're a few hundred years above us.
Ooh, I wouldn't say above us. Probably we've dug a bigger hole.
Front.
In
front. I don't wanna say above or below.
In front's a better word because I can see pitfalls, and as I say, I just think you have such a fantastic country here, guys. And I know I said it. I mean, look at what you've got in Montana. Like, if I
You
was
guys
going
can't see this, but I'm blushing.
yeah. But it is like this is an idyllic place, and yes, it's got its problems. Everybody has, and all the time you've got humans, you're always going to have problems. And the problem is we've got too many humans. Let's be honest, right? So I just see where things can go. Start sliding down that slide, and once it builds up a bit of velocity, you know, it's very difficult to go backwards. And actually,
But we were talking about, not to interrupt, but we were talking about the hunting being elitist.
yeah,
In where you're from.
Yeah.
So it was like the rich.
Yeah.
That's the only ones who did it.
yeah.
And now you're seeing this resurgent. And it's probably because the internet has leveled the world.
Yeah, but no, the problem is because it's elitist, right? We haven't done ourselves any favours in the UK, have we? Right, if you're little Jim and you live in a tiny little council house and you're never going to get a chance to hunt, you're never going to get a chance to take a rifle out and do that with
That's
a bow.
insane.
Right, no, but, right, what are you going to become? You're going to become bitter and twisted, aren't you, and resentful. So my argument is actually a lot of the people that were actually antis in the UK are frustrated.
Anti-hunting?
Yeah, anti-hunting. Are frustrated because they don't get the opportunity to do it. And there's poor education as well. And we're guilty. Being elitist, we haven't cared what people have thought about it. You know, it's really, oh, do this and do that. No, don't give a fuck, right? We actually haven't promoted. You know, look, let's talk about elephant shooting in Africa. How many people actually think about the whole gambit of the elephant? And I don't want to go and shoot an elephant. It's probably slightly off, but this will make sense, right? I don't want to go and shoot an elephant, but if somebody is prepared to go and pay a few $100,000 to go and shoot an elephant, and it's going to feed a load of people out there, and that elephant's going to be picked because it's an old knackered elephant that's probably got a couple of years to live before its teeth wear out, and that means that all the other elephants, or not all, but it will protect other elephants. The only place you see game in the UK now in any quantity is where it's paid to be looked after.
Yeah.
Right. Let's talk about grouse moors. There are no grouse, or there's very few grouse now where there isn't a grouse moor. Now, a grouse moor is a privately owned estate that manages its grouse to shoot the grouse. Right.
Huh.
But guess what? They do not want to kill that resource completely because they want grouse for the following year.
When game has a value. It lives.
Exactly. So,
The same in Africa,
Yeah.
same in the UK.
but we haven't educated people. They just see some fat old git going and shooting an elephant, and invariably might be a fat old git shooting an elephant, and they go, that greedy old bastard's just taken that elephant. Right. Doesn't see. So we're guilty of not, certainly I'm talking about from a European perspective, I'm not saying from American perspective, because frankly I don't know, but from a European perspective, we haven't promoted the successful or the productive byproducts of that elephant being shot.
I want to know what or how it pans out now that the internet has made hunting I don't want to say a fad. I hope it's not a fad. But the internet you were talking about your daughter, has a lot of followers, and has picked up people who are interested in hunting.
Yeah, they're not all hunters, you see. And that's good.
100%. But they're interested in the concept, right?
Yeah.
They're intrigued by this acquisition of meat that comes organically, naturally. Where does that fall?
Because we're so distant from it, Cody.
Yeah, but where does that fall?
No, I think there's an urge for people to get back to a few. They're bored of this sanitized life.
They got too many chicken tags.
Too many fucking chicken tags. Too many supermarket specials. And I think, actually, there's something quite appealing about this, right? That girl's going and she's harvesting something. It might be a poor word, I don't know, but she's out there, she's hunting it, she's processing it, she's cooking it, and if you looked at her Instagram, there's as many pictures of her cooking stuff, right? There's probably very few of her shooting something, because that's actually, that's probably the least appealing part, but she likes the meat. Nothing wrong with that, guys.
Where does that fall into your guys' society, though? Because here you go back, say 100 years, it's an upper class, it's a very high-end thing, maybe 200 years. And now, not to say it's a lower class thing, but it's much lower than it used to be. And there's going to be an intrigue. Yeah. And this is going to drive, right? And so the Instagram is going to push people of lower class to be middle class. I'll say middle class.
But you're exactly right. And it is. And people are reaching out, if that's the right term, to say, well, I'd like to try this. And some people in the UK that aren't earning a lot of money will spend a huge amount of their income to go and experience these things. I think it's great. I think we need to try and make that more affordable. How we do that, I don't know. But you
came on here. I thought you were going to solve world peace.
Oh, yeah. I need a shower first, boys. And then we'll crack on to world peace. But no, I don't. I really don't know where that would go. But I do. We start this conversation. I'm optimistic. I think the youngies get it. I think the youngies are fed up with listening to this old bollocks, right? And saying enough of this. And politics are, by the way they're voting, it's basically finger up. Fuck you. We're gonna muddy things a bit here. Yeah. And then get some. And I'm quietly optimistic about the young. They know a lot more than I. When I was growing, I didn't. They're more savvy about it, but I think they've grown up with this and think, no, let's get back to a few roots here. But I could be wrong. Probably won't be around to fucking find out, will I? But anyway, who cares? Yeah, but good on her. She's doing a good job. All my kids hunt, and I never pushed them. I'm very good at not pushing them, actually, but they're all into it. And my lad, Max, said, I think I'd like to try deer hunting. This was at 14 before. I don't want to do it, Dad. And I was really proud of him for that, because I've taken a lot of people out that 5 times his age, that all they want to do is pull the trigger. Mm-hmm. And the first one, I took him out, he shot a little muntjac, they're a little Asian deer, and they are a pest. They're a big problem in the UK now, because they have no breeding cycle. Within 3 days of giving birth, she's normally pregnant again. And they're very like difficult.
Rats.
Yeah, well, exactly. But they're very tasty rats. If you haven't tried Munty, you need to.
So can we get some of those over here?
But they'll be ratty here too. Well,
don't tell anybody about that.
It's funny you say that, because they escaped from, was it Woburn Abbey? I don't know, somebody's going to shoot me down. I've picked the wrong fucking part, but they got out somewhere. They're everywhere now. And that didn't happen on its own.
Well, it's like pigs for us.
Yeah. Well, it's the same pigs in the UK, Once they're out, they suddenly strategically...
You can't kill them.
Yeah. So
what kind of species do you guys hunt over there?
So we've got 6 species of deer. 6
species of deer?
Yeah, so we have 3... native species. Well, you could argue about fallow, because fallow was actually brought over by the Romans or the Normans. Nobody really knows. So it's not a true nut, but it's been there long enough to be considered a native. The other 2 native species are roe, my favourite deer to stalk. And they're pretty small, Labrador size, but really lovely animal, good eating. And then we've got the red deer. Now, the red deer, I guess, are like a miniature version of your elk. We have them up in Scotland, we have them down in the West Country, Suffolk. Down in the south, they grow probably twice the size of what they get to in Scotland, because there's a lot of them up in Scotland, and the food's no good, and the weather's much harsher. So they do not get to sometimes you shoot an exceptional one, but they're not big up there. And then we've got Sika, we've got muntjac, and we've got Chinese water deer. Never even seen a Chinese water deer, and they're very pocketed. But you can go to places where you'll see lots of them. But those are the 6 species. We've got no predators. Well, we've got foxes and such like, but we don't have bear. We don't have wolves. We don't have lynx. They've all gone.
The first thing you asked me, oh, you got grizzly bears here?
Yeah, well, last time
I saw one in the yard yesterday.
Yeah.
Can I pet one?
But last time I was here, I came through and I was coming down from Montana, and I ran into a bear in the morning when I was taking a piss in the woods. Yeah. And then I ran into another mum with 2 cubs in the afternoon, and I phoned my mate George Hawthorne at Kimber Rifles, really lovely guy, and I said, George, I've run into 4 bears. Well, 2 were cubs, so let's say 2 bears. Today, and he said, "Shut up, I've been living here 8 years, Robert. I haven't seen one." So, but no, and I probably, last 2 nights I've been sleeping out, and on this trip I sleep out a lot. Just not because I'm that bloody tight. Don't like, just if the scenery's good, I'd rather stay out and light a little fire and cook up and have my organic red wine or my whatever this big horn bourbon, and you know, but. Lovely, you know, so I'm just going to savour the moment. But so I probably have more chance of running into things like that because I avoid the parks, I avoid lots of people. I do not want to be anywhere near people. When I went fishing today, I went a long, long way to do less fishing just to avoid running into people. And that's my climbing. You'll never find me on the base of Everest. I have huge respect for people that climb Everest because over 6,000 metres, you're dying anyway. It's just whether it takes you 20 minutes or a few weeks. Yeah. So if you want to blow your lungs up, it's a good way to do it. But I don't want to run into a whole crowd of people on a climb. And the same with hunting. And the same, probably all of the things I do are, dare I say, quite sort of lonely, right? But I like that. Or I work with very small people, a small bunch of people.
Why do you like that?
I don't think I would have ever coped with working with a big tribe. Do you know, just because I'm going to find faults in those. I've got my own faults, but I'm quite demanding of people. The people that are friends have earned my respect. Like Coffin Rob, you know, who works for me. He's a fucking awesome dude. You know, I've grown up with that bloke and he's just solid. He's just super, super solid. And this business would have died without people like him. And my PA, LPA, lovely Paula, as I call her. Like the story, that's fucking funny as well, but that'd be for another podcast. So, LPA, they're just machines. They're just solid people and they earn my respect because they get on and do with it. And in a there's no room for weakness. In those kind of things, you rapidly weed people out. And we've all got weaknesses, but hopefully you're with a team that they'll cope with my inadequacies and I'll cope with theirs. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
When you've got like 20 people, you'll never know people well enough to be able to do that. And I'm sorry, if I'm hanging on a rope, I want to know people pretty well, even if he is the rope cutter. So, but it's just, you need to trust people. You know, you need to, and I have huge faith in the people that have earned my respect, and they've earned it. That's I can't say any more than that.
What do you think? What activity or scenario or event has shaped you most in your life?
Oh, climbing, without any shadow of a doubt. I don't even need to think about that.
Is there a specific climbing event or a specific time?
I can think of some times where I've been, I'm not embarrassed to say, I've been in tears, thinking, fuck. How do I get out of this? I'm going to die here.
What was it? Can you tell the story?
Oh, yeah, I was on a rock. I mean, there's probably 3 events there, but I'll pick one that springs to mind. It was a climb called the Bastard, actually. And it just didn't offer any protection, and the weather was really shitty and windy. And I was climbing with John Cowd, the guy that successfully crash-landed the 777, the plane crasher, I call him. Flew for BA, well, still does fly for BA, super, super solid lad. And I knew it was bad because, I basically got to a big slab of rock, right? And I was a long way up, and I hadn't got any gear in for the last 60 feet. So anything I'd got in weren't going to look after me. And
Time out. What do you mean by
So basically, I was lead climbing.
Okay.
Okay. So you put protection in as you go up, right? You put these things called friends or pitons or whatever, but you put bits of gear in which will glue the rope to the rock. Well, if I hadn't got anything in for 60 feet, I'm not going to fall 60 feet. I'm going to fall 120 feet plus the stretch. Well, I'd be hitting the bloody deck before then anyway, or hitting somewhere. I'd be reaching terminal velocity. And the gear isn't designed to cope with that. It's going to ping out. So I got to a slab, and it was probably about 10 foot. It looked like 25 foot to me, and there was nothing there. Right, and the conditions were very windy, so I couldn't communicate with my guy that was belaying me.
Was there a reason you hadn't stuck anything in?
Yeah, there was no room to get anything in. Oh, trust me, I'm good at sticking gear in. If I can find a little crack, I'm going to get something in there. But it was a dangerous climb, and it was graded a dangerous climb because you couldn't get protection in. And I just got to that. Maybe I'd missed something. It can easily miss something when your mind's doing overtime. But anyway, I hadn't got any gear in. I got to this wall and I thought, shit, I can't go down, right? And I've just got to make this, and I don't know what I'm going to find. And if I get it wrong, I'm gone. I'm dust. That's a fact, guys. And that makes you really question yourself. And any human, I think, will shit themselves in that environment. And that really scared me. And in the end, I probably it felt like eternity. It was probably 3 or 4 minutes, and I thought, I've got to do this. And
what was the self-talk between, oh shit, and I have to go forward?
You all have been there, Cody. A million things go through your mind very, very fast in those environments. And I think it's a great lesson in life, and everybody needs that little injection of that self-talk, right? I'm not saying to that level, right? And I've done things since which weren't at that level where I've gone, too much for me, boys. I like beer and shagging too much. So it's just that, it's a very personal thing. Yeah, and you all have been there, and we all tackle it differently, but I'm not scared to say I know what fear is like. Yeah. Does that make sense?
No. 100%.
Yeah. I'm not scared to say that really did shake me big time. So I have to drag, because the rope's locked down there, it's worse than the 60 feet. I can't go because he's tight on the rope. So I have to drag enough rope up, more slack, so I can climb this wall. Otherwise, I'm just going to ping off anyway. So I have to pull up another 10, 20 feet of slack. And then I just make a mad dash. And luckily, I find a couple of little matchbox slots and just get to the... And I just lock myself. Fuck. That is when you know you're alive, boys. That's when you know, I'm going to enjoy putting that kettle on when I go home. Right? And you all know, it's probably like somebody that's gone through cancer and makes it the other side and thinks, I'm still here. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
You feel invincible.
You feel good. Yeah. It's a real adrenaline rush. And when my mate came up, and bear in mind, he's on a rope. So he's not... And he goes, where'd you go from here? And I said, you want to try that without fucking rope, mate? See what, so those kind of things are, they're tattooed into one's memory banks, for want of a better word. So, yeah.
Has that made you more risk averse or more?
I've got more risk averse. Just before I started this business, or just when I started, I was going down to the Antarctic. I booked it to go and do some first ascents with Yatesy. And I phoned him and I said, I'm not doing it. I've got too much going on. Now, I said, I'm not doing it because I'm too busy. And that factually was correct. But actually, have I missed those events? This business has been my climb. And I've loved every second of it. So there's been huge troughs and emotions. And believe me, we've been paddling that boat fucking hard, right? And sometimes we've been taking a lot more water in than it's been going out, and you think, we're not going to make it. But with a good team, nobody works at Spartan. They live it. I know passionate people wanting to get it right. I'm hugely proud of every one of them. And I think that comes through in what we do.
No, I've talked a fair amount about entrepreneurship within this podcast, and a lot of it relays to, I don't want to say extreme sports, but extreme sports, of some kind. There's that skin in the game.
Yeah.
There's that willingness to push past failure. There's all these things. And so having been from that background and multiple facets, and then moving to entrepreneurship, like, this is my new thing. And it's, from the outside looking in, it's not anything I'm not climbing a rock wall.
No, but it is a climb.
But it is.
Yeah.
And sometimes the risks feel equal.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you... it's hard to say because
they're
you're
worse.
talking about...
They're worse, Cody, because the thing about what I didn't say about the climb is that's huge amount of fear. It's a bit like being in the military or something. It's a huge amount of fear, probably, to overcome a situation, but it's over quickly, isn't it? Right? Doing what we're doing here it's relentless, right?
Constant.
And so it's constantly eating away at you. And my missus, she says, I don't ask how you're doing, Rob, because she jokes. She says, you talk about the company, you don't talk about you. So, we're doing all right. Yeah, you're almost just the carcass, right, that carries that business forward. And do you know what? She's fucking right. I think about that business, and it's just, I'm passionate about making great gear, and I'm not, there's other people making fantastic stuff out there. I'm not there to be to judge anybody or whatever. And guess what? We could make it better, right? But we want to make. I'm not. This is not a business for me. This is about building something that will help people, right? Yeah. Yes, it's a business, and clearly it needs to make. But I don't need $20 million in the bank, right? And I say to the kids, there is a case of having too much money. You've only got one set of legs, guys. Right? You can only be on one part of the planet at any one time. And the minute you got too many dollars, somebody else is looking after it and stressing you out. Have enough to be able to do the things you want to do and take time to take stock and rejoice in those times.
Time is so important.
Oh, but you'll have taken them out. I've taken them out. And you get people, they've got all the bloody money in the world. They've got and they can't fucking switch off, right? And they can't probably, and I'm not going to mention any name, but I've got a guy that I do a bit of work with. A guy sitting on, he's got no worries. Right, he's sitting out, he owns a load of property and blah, blah, and he's going, Rob, I can't sleep. I said, sell the fucking business. Yeah. Right, you owe it to yourself and your family. Sell the fucking business. Just get, but, no, it's that simple. It is that simple, right? Sell the business. You and your family will never need to work, right? So don't tell me you're waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning stressed out, because talking to me like that in my little tiny boat, it's almost... yeah, exactly. And I know a few people like that are, their problems are made so big, all right, and they're not that big.
We all blow our problems.
Oh, look, I'm as guilty as... If Magali was sitting here now, she would say, Kieran, you're as guilty as the next fucker, Yeah. But I have my moments.
But if you have money, you can't bitch about time.
No. But my view is that 55 is diminishing horizons, right? Best will in the world,
You still have
no. Yeah, look,
25.
Yeah, I'm working hard.
On average.
Yeah, I'm working hard, but I want to be out enjoying those 25 years.
25 years. That's a long fucking time.
Yeah, but that's if nothing goes wrong. Your joints just aren't where they were, and I've worked real hard to be fit. I worked really hard to sort of stay there. So, if you and I did something, I don't want to be the person that lets us down. And that's a big driver for me. I want to work hard and think, right, fuck, he might be an old bastard, but he's still keeping up. Yeah.
That's what those trekking poles are for.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's why I wish I'd started using them earlier.
You were telling me that earlier. Because we were talking about we need to get into your tire business, but you were talking about trekking poles, and I said, well, I pretty much use them if I'm packing out meat or I'm going in.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Yeah. And if I don't have horses, then I'm using trekking poles. Yeah. I don't use them day to day. I don't use them ever.
We're going to have this conversation in 10 years' time if I'm still alive. You go, do you know, Kimmy, you said to me about, I'm with you now. Right. So a mate of mine started using them before me. And I I thought, no, I'm just going to start using one because two's a bit gay kind of thing.
Okay. Now we're getting into a good conversation. Because I can't use... If I use trekking poles, my friends would make fun of me for days. Like, if I got caught in public using trekking poles...
This is so stupid.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
It'd be over.
Yeah, this is so stupid because honestly, it's over. You need to look after those joints. And you're packing out a bloody elk or whatever. You've got lots. I know you're using them then, but use them all the time. Yeah, honestly, yeah.
So you use them all the time?
I literally would not go into the mountains without trekking poles. Yeah.
I should probably use them more.
No, you should, and just accept the gayness. Just say, sorry, guys. Yeah, I've turned the other side. Yeah.
I probably should.
Yeah.
We actually, it's like last year or year before? No, year before. I had a set on a scout trip. I got made fun of the whole time. We went in opening weekend. There's three of us that went in.
I bet they got them.
Oh, no. One of the other guys got him.
Yeah.
And then it was like the majority rule. So now there was like, he was the guy that didn't have him was the odd man out.
Yeah.
So then you can't say shit.
It's funny how in life people critique things and then they suddenly end up having them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So thank God for that.
So let's talk a little bit about your company, because we haven't even mentioned Spartan yet.
Yeah. No, well,
so
okay.
I mentioned that I met you in the booth. Somebody wanted to buy a bipod.
Yeah.
How did this whole thing start?
Right. So what I used to take a lot of people out hunting, right? Clients on the private estates, and I had a rifle with a Harris bipod on it, bloody good bit of kit, did the job, just nice. The only reason I took it off was because it was weighty and it just got in the way a little bit. I got this guy into a roebuck, didn't have the bipod. The other reason I took it off is we very rarely use bipods. Most of our stuff is because it's woodland, you're doing a lot of standing shots or kneeling shots, but maybe 1 in 10 times I'd use a bipod, right? So it's a real thing that you almost don't bother taking. And indeed, I was guilty of not taking it in that instance. And he got into it. He didn't feel comfortable with the shot. I've never pushed people to shoot. I want dead deer. I don't want wounded ones. So we just we left that event alone. And so I considered I'd failed him. And then a little bit later, we were working on an engineering project, Concord nose. We bought one of the Concord noses, turned it into a piece of art, put it on an Olympus engine bearing. I've told this story a lot of times now, right?
Streamlined.
And we didn't want any nuts and bolts. We want a nice finish. So the guy that did it used a couple of rare earth magnets to make a couple of clamshells round the bearing, tied it all away. And I said, shit. I said, these things are amazing. He said, yeah, 16 kilos on these, or like 30 plus pounds, and on these tiny little magnets. I said, make me a bipod. It goes on my rifle with a magnet. And that was the end of my genius. Right. That, I promise you, was the end of and everything you see now are far brighter people.
Take it from there.
Yeah, I've just taken that idea and that concept, and the one thing I am is passionate about doing it. As I said, if we can make it better, let's make it better, lads. And that's what we've strived to do. And it's a tiny little company. It remains a tiny little company. I don't want to employ loads of people. I'm not interested in building an empire. I want to make good gear. And I work with people I really love working with. And I'm really, really blessed to actually have a brilliant little team of people that look after me. And you said about striving, doing the fact I actually make the effort to come out here each year and meet you guys and things, I think shows how passionate I am about, I'll do anything. There is I will do what I need to do, because I want to also, meeting you guys is not just about what the product is today, it's product development. And we've had a conversation. You said, well, Rob, we need to do this. So I will listen to
your tripod in half. Yeah,
so
all kinds of crazy shit.
Yeah, but that will happen. Those things will develop, and there'll be a new product that shoots off from that. And it's happening with the military lads. So there's a whole gambit it's a never-ending story of evolution, really. And the amount of people that phone me or send me an email and say, Rob, I've got this brilliant idea and you should do. I said, fuck, mate, I'm the last person you want to give another idea to, because I've got like 6 years of ideas blowing up in my head, right, where I can do this and this. I've talked about the tent, the tree saw, the snow shovel. This thing is a
Good
tool.
idea fairies are the death of
Oh, yeah, but and the military bipod's the same thing. You know, that thing has been haunting us for 2.5 years, and now Seiko sent us an M10, which is lovely of them, and we're working on a great little product. But in the end, I said to Coffin, Coffin, you've got to press the button, mate, and it will be nearly there. But you'll only get it there when you've put it in the hands of 150 really good guys, and they come back. I say I'm the luckiest bastard on the planet because we've sold 30,000 of those bipods. We've got 30,000 product testers out there. And guess what? They'll tell you if they don't like something. Yeah. You know, lots of them will tell you what a great product is. A few will say, have you thought about it? And think, yeah, we could do that. And we are small enough and not arrogant, so we listen. Yeah? And it's
That's crucial.
And a lot of companies, yeah, but you say it's crucial. How many companies don't?
Oh, no. No, yeah. I'm laughing, not at the statement, but at the reality of the situation.
It's just, it's just so many people don't give a shit. They pump crap into the market all the time.
You know what? When I met you and your crew, one thing I'm big on, the product's great. Don't get me wrong. I'm like, holy shit, this is, first off, I was hiking out of the wilderness, but last year before, one of the years, and the idea came to me to have trekking poles and a tripod. I'm like, why the hell am I packing all 5? Yeah. And by 5, I mean a tripod and 2 trekking poles. I have more business ideas in my head than I have time for by a large margin. So I didn't even work on it. But when I met you guys, and I'm like, oh my God, this, like, first off, better than I would have done. And second off, like, this is the idea I would have had. But when it comes to ideas, businesses, all these things, I look at jockeys, not horses.
Yeah.
The upside
gotcha.
is that you have the jockey and the horse.
Yeah.
So I love small companies. I love seeing them succeed. I love working with people who are passionate, people who have just something to offer more than here's a business, right? And that doesn't make sense to a lot of people, but maybe it's an entrepreneur thing. Like, I look at other entrepreneurs, I'm like, Rob's going to crush it. Like, this is big. This is huge.
Well, to back you up, actually, Kat, it's interesting you say that, because so the first sort of business meeting I had about it was obviously with the patent lawyer, right? And I went in there pumped with passion.
Patent lawyer.
Patent, IP.
For those of you in the US.
probably in the US. I never went to school. Apologies. But anyway, look, so I went to see the patent lawyer, and basically he just didn't even get excited, and I was so pumped. I said, "Shit, this is, you know, I'm riding that horse." Yeah. I said, "This is good," and he just didn't get it. And it was only recently he said, "Rob, I now owe you an answer, right?" And I said, "Right, what's that then?" And he said, "Well, the reason," he said, "I didn't think your idea was a bad one. In actual fact, I thought it was a great one. But," he said, "you wouldn't believe the amount of people that come in here with fantastic ideas, but they're not riding the fucking horse."
Yeah.
Right? They come up with the idea, and then they just think, "Well, I've done my job."
Yeah, I'm done.
Right? That's the easy bit, guys.
Ideas are shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's execution.
Yeah, yeah. And you actually, the bravest thing to do is, so many companies probably do, kill themselves because they won't produce, they won't actually bring something to market.
Oh, yeah.
And we were nearly guilty of that. I produced the first 3,000 bipods. I don't do range work, guys. The only time you'll find me on a range is to zero a rifle so I know it's on track to shoot a deer.
Yeah.
I don't spend any time on a range at all, period. No, I would like to, I just don't have the time. So the first bipod that we created was purely and simply a tool to put that rifle on, to take a shot, to kill out, to do an ethical kill. Right? Did it hold the rifle up if you got a heavy scope? No, it didn't. I wasn't fucking interested. Yeah. I was interested in killing an animal. Yeah. Well, we launched 3,000 and we got great reviews on it, but people said, "Well, can you make them a little bit wider?" And we did. So now we've done all of those things, and they were good ideas. I came to it from a very narrow spectrum because I'm not a long range shooter. I shoot deer. I don't pretend to be anything else.
You shoot a lot of deer, by the way.
We shoot a lot of deer, yeah.
By a lot, he means a lot.
Yeah. So I've had a lot of time and I've made enough mistakes to know how to up my game. And I still will make mistakes. I mean, we were really lucky when we did that ibex hunt, and we got it all filmed with the British Field Sports Channel. Good guys, actually. I need to be doing more over here, and they need to be doing more with Americans to spread the... But I shot that ibex at 698 yards, and then people come up and go, "Oh, God, you were fantastic." I said, "Guys, you don't see the shots I screw up. You know, I've missed roebuck that are 5 metres in front of me. So I'm run away from this. Oh, no, anybody that shoots enough deer has to acknowledge they get them wrong now and again. So what we're trying to do is introduce tools to reduce that mistake level, really. You know, bring the percentages down. And it does. And I say to the wealthy people, I say, you spent $6,000 on this hunt, or 20 grand to go and shoot a Marco Polo. You
20 grand for a Marco Polo?
Yeah, it's probably a lot more than that.
Yeah,
I don't
try 120.
Right, okay. But I actually have a view that all rifles are good now. They're a bit like cars. You know, most rifles out the box are going to be damn sight better than they were 20 years ago when I was, you know, they're all doing a good job. It's a bit like you could buy any car now and it's going to get you from A to B. And if something's wrong, it's going to be the cigarette lighter or something. It's going to be...
No, that's bullshit, because that Porsche out there looks like a golf ball.
Yeah.
So.
It looked lovely when I got it, though. But that was just Mr. Gearing abusing it. But no, and basically, the rifle, they're all good. Even the optics, even you look through some of the cheap optics now, you think, oh, everybody's making good gear. But what people forget about is what's stabilising that gear to make that successful shot. We're the soft tissue guys. Soft tissue, right? Let's stabilise it. So what we've tried to introduce are systems that will cover a multitude of different positions, because it's no good shooting off a table, right? Yeah. And I don't need to tell you guys that. You know it. You don't take a fucking electric kettle to the mountains, do you? Right? It doesn't work. You take stuff that works and functions, and that means a weight limit. So in essence, what I'm saying is we could do things a lot better, but there's a weight limit, right? And I'm trying to keep that. I'm trying to find the happy balance, and everybody's got a different view on that, but I want to produce really lightweight gear that functions, that does a job. Somebody beat me up the other day and said, "Oh, you've added a bit of weight to those tripods." And I said, "Yeah, because we need to. Because the other leg locks, which we basically credited everybody or basically paid them back, or most of them said, we'll wait for the new legs. They weren't up to it. And I acknowledged that as that business MD. I let something out the door that I wasn't happy with. And we sold about 50 sets. And I said, no, they're not where they need to be yet. So at great sacrifice and at great and it was tough because, you know, some of our shareholders would say, well, shit, you can sell them. And I said, yeah, but are we here for the long run or are we here for the short one?
Long game.
Yeah, and I said, I wouldn't be happy with these because I think they can fail under certain circumstances, so let's build them right. And that's what we've done. If somebody shoots me down for that, then so be it. But honestly, I'm really delighted with what we're producing now. And I'm not saying that in an arrogant way because there's a lot of good minds at work to put that together.
Just because you're not a bow hunter, and I don't want to be a good idea fairy because I fucking hate good idea fairies, but I'm going to be for a second, and I will say... But
I want to be one.
Yeah. Come out. Let's go bow hunting. This is a great example. Come out, go bow hunting.
Yeah.
Realize how Americans, because there's a few of us, there's a couple in this country that do some hardcore Western bow hunting. Yeah. And, we use. It's not designed for us. Yeah. But I see big potential.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm like, come out, learn what we do. Because to you, a tripod is an accessory that you use momentarily.
Yeah.
To us, a tripod is an accessory that we use the majority of the time. Yeah. We use that more than any other piece of gear besides our boots.
I actually would go one step further. Say I hardly use it as a tripod. I use it on two legs nearly all the time.
Bipod.
Now we've got the tent that's coming out. Then I'll use that third leg because the whole thing's based on that. But I'd love to come out with you, but I'd be foolish not to listen to people with your experience. So we'll do it. We're small enough, it might take time, but I'm sure you'll come back and say, right, Rob, I need it a little bit short here. Yeah. We'll do it. It's an easy fix, but everything that's an easy fix, you're still looking at a 6-month window. Yeah. So, but we'll get there. But we might get something for you before the hunting season starts.
Yeah, do it. This is the thing is like I think everyone has their perspective on life, on hunting, on whatever it may be, and so your perspective is different than my perspective, right? And so I'm looking at this product like it's gold. This product is gold if this and this, because the product is not built for what I do.
Yeah.
And like I'm not trying to be harsh on the podcast.
No. But we're not here to be pretty about it. Yeah.
We're a whole bottle of whiskey deep. We can have this conversation. But it's not built for exactly what we or I do as far as like spending 8 to 10 hours a day on that thing.
See, that was designed, right? And, it's designed with my background for rifle shooters. For me, it's nice that the bow hunters could use it with a few tweaks. So it's another market. Yeah. So I don't look at that negatively. I look at that positively because I know there's enough guys that are rifle shooters that's where it needs to be.
There's 10 times as many bow hunters in this country as there is all hunters in your country. Yeah,
exactly. So I'd be foolish not to listen. So for you listeners out there will be a Cody version coming out at some time. Yeah. And if it doesn't, blame Cody, not me.
If it doesn't work, it's my fault. Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. So as far as dream hunts, dream lines, what do you got planned?
God, that's how long have we got? Right, I've probably been really fortunate that I've done 2 of those already. So like the Asian ibex, fantastic. I will definitely go back to New Zealand again because I love tahr hunting in that environment. Very, very hard on the body and fit guys, but they know their game. And that I really had a lot of enjoyment. I came out, I was royally knackered at the end of it, but I, held my hat.
Let's go bow hunting for tahr, and then we'll talk.
Oh, yeah, no, I'd love to. No, a bow hunt would be a spectacular thing for me. I mean, bearing in mind, 2 weeks ago, guys, I hadn't really fired any bows, but since I've done it, I just thought this is just, that would be an awesome thing to do. I use that American word that's, I think, often too frequently used, but I will use awesome in this case because I think to hunt something with a bow would be, that's just got a real organic feel for me. Yeah, I was blown away with how good these bows are. I thought I was doing well. I was like, don't know, me set up at 20 yards, and I was thinking, this is brilliant. And then some bloke behind me, not behind me, the following day, I heard this, thought, shit, that sounds like somebody's firing an arrow. And the guy must have been 80 yards away, and he was lobbing them in. And I just thought, that's pretty spectacular. Like back to the school gearing. Yeah, but I think I'd love to do that. And there's a mate of my very good friend of mine, Will O'Mara from Fauna Outdoors, Irish guy, and he's very good at he's special ops guy. But anyway, he does a lot of hunting Seeker in Ireland, and he's got a bow over there. And I phoned him the other day, and I said, "Shit, Will. We've got to get a bow hunt sorted now, boys. Yeah. We've got to get this done because what a fantastic tool, and just feels right. It's I'm a bit like you probably. I use a rifle because I have to. Yeah. Right. You probably you use a bow because you can and you have that luxury, but we don't have it. But I know that would definitely be high on the list. Yeah. Yeah. My other hunt. I know it sounds boring, but I love. And I get so little time to do it now. I love roe stalking in the UK. And nice, because you're hunting in the summer, so you can go very light, have a pair of shorts on or whatever. Roe calling is really, really good. I just love that. I love the countryside. I like the fact that it's a small animal. It's very tasty. It's easy to process. You're not out for days doing it. It's a completely different event. But some of the best hunts I've done have been crawling into a roe buck, and that gets the old heart going. Yeah.
If you only had one more hunt, one person, who's with you, and where are you going?
Do you know what? I'd love to take Coffin, right? Because I'd like to take Coffin or Noah, two of my best mates, really, but. Coffin
climbing buddies.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No. Neither of those are climbing buddies.
Oh, really?
But no. I've got some brilliant buddies. But Coffin has come from a military police background.
Oh, that's the guy that works with you. Okay.
So he's done very little hunting, So I'm actually trying to arrange to get him out to do a deer or an elk at the fall this year. Because I've taken him out a lot. He's just the unluckiest bastard on the planet. No, you think, right, he's in that, I put him in this area, it cannot go wrong here. And it just doesn't happen for him. So we need to fix that. And, so I'd like to do something with him. That would be very rewarding for me. And he's worked so hard, he's a good guy. And I know, because he's a real outdoorsy person, the harder it is, the more he'd love it. Yeah. But nothing easy. Nothing, just like there's different horses for different courses, whatever you want to call it. I don't knock anybody for that, but I like pulling the trigger for me is just, and I'm sure it's the same with you with a bow, it's just part of the adventure.
Yeah.
And a small part, actually.
How do you see that? Not to imply that you're old, but
I am old. I don't run away from it. I feel it, though.
How do you get around that one?
When it was pissing down in my sleep, I didn't have a tent out there, and I was pissing down and getting eaten by midgets, and I'm thinking, am I too fucking old for this? Maybe I should go get a hotel.
You still got like 25, 30 years.
Yeah, but it's honestly,
they keep adding 5
years. Yeah. Keep it going.
50 years left.
You do get people with very good genetics, and I mean, I have to say, my mother, well, she's dead now. She died actually a couple of weeks back, but
I'm sorry.
We all got to go sometime, Cody. And she had a good innings, but I had her doing all sorts of things right up till the end. So, and she was up for it, and that's the way to go. And then I tried to parachute my dear old dad off a mountain.
This sounds terrible.
No, it is terrible. You might not want to hear this story. He had Parkinson's, and we've gone skiing, and he was
that starts it off so much better.
That's a rough one. But he was sitting in the lodge, not doing anything, and we're going skiing every day. And I thought, fuck. I said, Dad, you want to go and parachute off the mountain? And he was great. He was a real good dude. And he just said, oh yeah, fuck, I'm up for that. And then it was mad.
How old was he?
Oh, he was in his 70s. He was early 70s. He didn't live long
after.
Making
parachute off the mountain.
But, anyway, he should have gone that way, though. He should have gone that way, because the Parkinson's just took him in a horrible, cruel way, and it would have been an epic end to an epic life. He was such a great guy, and I'd have taken a lot of shit from people. I'd have loved to have gone up to, and done the old thing at the funeral and said, well, my fault, guys, because he had a massive heart attack. Anyway, didn't get off.
Up, guys.
A super lad. I mean, I learnt a lot from him. Yeah, he was a very, very good, very fair, very honest person.
Yeah.
Always, and did what he said. And I think, not many. Wish more humans were like that. Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. How do you? If you could go anyway, how would you want to go? Because I see myself personally, and it seems morbid, but falling off a mountain or eaten by a grizzly.
Well,
it scares the hell out of me. First off, scares the hell out of me to get old.
Yeah.
And that seems reckless. It seems
selfish.
Is
it reckless?
I don't want to think that. I really don't. I also don't want to be 82, 85 years old and shit myself.
We spend a huge amount of time investing in some very poor quality years at the end of our lives.
Yeah.
Don't we?
Exactly.
Yeah. So my PA, for example, bless her, says, "Oh, boss, something epic will happen to you. It's just the way you're made." Mm-hmm. Right? So I hope it does go that way. And actually, as a good friend of mine once said to me, he said, I wouldn't worry about gearing. He's packed 3 lives into his one already. And I do genuinely feel I'm really lucky like that. I have packed a lot. I don't want to die, right? Don't get me wrong. I'm not, if I got eaten by a grizzly tomorrow, I'd be pretty pissed off about it. But if he is going to eat me, I just hope he does it quick. But but I don't want to be lingering, and I don't want my kids to see how I saw my father. Yeah. Does that make sense?
No,
that's
absolutely.
A very selfish thing to say, actually, but I think I've always been pretty strong and supportive for my family and I just want to go, Yeah. And I think you're a lucky bastard, actually. If you get to 80, fit as a butcher's dog, and then just drop off in wicked, bring it on, But if I died tomorrow...
if you're 82 and you die in a Porsche accident, that's a win.
Yeah. But I'm 55. I've already shredded the Porsche. I hope I get a few more 1,000 miles out, and I've got to get out to Idaho after this. I've seen that windscreen just cracking and getting bigger and bigger. And
the car's stuff.
Yeah, it's so trash.
No, A hailstorm is not a good way to go.
No, that would.
I feel like you get to heaven and how'd you go?
Really?
Hailstorm.
Yeah. Really?
Oh, really?
Balls of ice.
Yeah, that would be nasty. Yeah, but no, just quickly is the answer to that. I think. Yeah,
it's just irony that we all try to live as long as
but we
can.
do it with our dogs. We do it and this is a first world problem again. You know, you see all these dogs, well, not your dogs, but dogs, and they're grossly overweight, and you think they're feeding. Fuck you. You've turned them into.
Oh yeah.
You know, I've got a big thing about people. You know, eating too much and eating poor stuff and things. And I know some people have a problem with it and they can't help. You know, but shit, you didn't get any fat people in Colditz, did you? No, honestly, you know, at the end of the day, get out there and fucking work it off. Right? Yeah. And stop eating all those sugar shits and processed food. If you've stopped eating processed food and sugars. We're going to start this as a health forum now.
Oh, yeah. I'm not even open my mouth because I know where it's going to go from here.
But it's just
drinking whiskey and talking about.
Oh yeah. We're guilty. Yeah, guilty. But no, I don't know. I think in 10 years' time, sugars will be classed as a poison like drugs. You know, sure. It just the amount of crap we feed our kids and things. Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, and I reckon that is a big reason why we get so many other problems. Yeah, diabetes and such. Anyway, how did we get onto that one? Yeah. How do I want to go? Right, just quickly. Yeah, but get to as long as I'm fit and well, I'm happy. You know, it's just keep that going. But I've had I've really enjoyed my time on the planet, and I made the most of it. And a lot of people don't. That's the thing. A lot of people are always thinking. They forever planning, I'm going to do this. Listen, you listeners, if you're thinking about something, fucking do it, right? Good story, right? But so I was in the aviation business and it all fell off the cliff after September the 11th. And I said to my wife at the time, I said, right, guys, we either adjust our lifestyle majorly or we go somewhere the pound goes a bit further. And my missus said, well, I like option B better. I said, good. We're fucking off to Patagonia. So I pulled them all out. So it was a scary thing to do because I had 3 kids, little ones.
Really?
Packed them, I said, 1 bag each. Didn't have anything planned. Flew to Patagonia. And the idea was that we were going to go there and live there for a year. But as soon as I went, the business picked up again. So obviously I wasn't needed. Shows how useless I was. But we spent a good few months out there. And it was the best thing. Although it was the scariest thing to do. It was the best thing to do because it completely rewired my kids to the extent that Jenna, when she left school, she was very bright. Oh, well, she's bright. She got offered a place at Durham, you know, one of the top unis and she said, no, Dad, I'm not doing that. I'm off to Patagonia again. So she went and lived with a load of gauchos in a tin hut, properly living off goat heads because I couldn't afford to eat the good meat and such like. And the deal was, I said, well, Jenna, you just let me know you're alive every 3 weeks. So she had to ride to town just so I'm still alive.
How did you handle that?
How? I accepted it. Once you accept something, you handle it, don't you?
But it's your kid.
But
kids.
It's made her such a richer person. Yeah, I mean, they really have got the travel bug, and they loved it, and they speak to anybody. She won't care. None of my kids will care whether you're cleaning the toilet or you're the queen, right? They'll speak to them all the same. They treat everybody the same way, and I think that's a real. We could all do with a bit of that.
One of the epidemics that I think infects the U.S. is that we all shelter our kids from struggles.
Yeah, in the US, I don't actually. I've dropped them in, and I've adopted the Inuit policy. So I've spent some time with the Inuit, and the Inuit policy, because you look at how they look after their kids, and they don't really look after their kids, and some make it and some don't, and they actually, I've been there. I know I'm exaggerating, but I've allowed them to make a few big old holes. Right, and then let them dig themselves out. And trust me, you're not doing them any favours if you don't allow them to do that, because you might not be there.
Adversity's what's created us.
Yeah, exactly. So, why do you hunting? So all these things, it's all part of finding out about yourself at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if you're a big city business guy or whatever, and you're the reason you want to go in those mountains, you really want to discover how you're going to cope in a complete. It's a very different stress, very different, and it's fascinating being a climber, seeing how people that you would think would be quite robust often aren't, and you probably don't have a high opinion of somebody else, and they've surprised you and think, fuck, they're pulling out the old stops now. Yeah. Never.
Which is interesting to see when people get into the woods, and even I've been with people when it's not in their inner nature. Yeah. So you see it. You see the wheels start turning, and then they start coping, and it's like it's so natural. Yeah. You know, they're like, well, for some don't just cope, but for the ones that do, it's interesting to watch them pick up these ancestral instincts, right? Of like being in the woods.
But they're all there if you dig deep enough. Yeah. And it's surprising who has them at a higher level than others. I mean, for me, I've spent my life outdoors. I can honestly say I've never watched a football match or tennis match or any sport on the TV. Just doesn't do it. I'd rather be out doing something. Yeah. You know, I'm made that way.
Living your life.
Yeah. Bloody right. You know, I don't need the box to go and, that's good. I'd rather go and do it, right? And
I got a lot of applause, though, to be able to let your kids live that. That's not my biggest fear, but it's a fear that I have, that when I have kids, like, how do you cultivate?
You should do a podcast with Jenna and actually get her view on this. She'd be quite...
She'd be 180.
Yeah. Bastard, he was never there for me. Yeah. No, they're good. They're good. But, I mean, I'm very pleased with them all. Yeah. At the end of the day, the only adults in my family were the kids. I always say that. And they've just coped with everything, and it hasn't been easy for them. You know, there's been a few sort of pretty tough situations. But there we are. That's it.
That's awesome.
I'm not saying I've done it right, but the result's good. But whether I'm responsible for that, I strongly doubt it.
Well, thank you, Rob, for jumping on the podcast.
Well, I've really enjoyed it. We've killed the bighorn off.
And killed a bottle of whiskey.
Yeah. But really enjoyed it, and I think that was a very open, honest
Is there
chat.
anything you want to add?
Do you know what? It'll probably be the bighorn talking if I do. No, I just thanks so much, and I'm being serious. The only thing I would add is I'm not a bow hunter. I'd like to be one. You are. You tell us what you need, and we'll get that sorted. Because I think you just need a slightly shorter the Cody Bow Hunter version. Yeah. If it doesn't happen, boys, listeners, blame Cody, because I'll do it.
It'll work. Yeah. Well, as the podcast, I'll say we'll tell you what's wrong or right.
Yeah. Good.
But no, I would just not underestimate the number of bow hunters within this.
I can understand the draw to that. Excuse the pun. But I
Wow, clever.
Yeah. Right? I had to go and buy myself a Target, one of these. So because I got the bow in the car, and then I loved it so much.
You have a bow with you? We should have been shooting.
I bought one after I had I've got to have one of these. I've not only bought myself one, I've gone and got one for my little nippers. It's her birthday when I get back, so I've got her one as well.
I got a little mini one tonight.
Wait, is he staying the night?
And we could party all night.
So much room for activities.
I stayed at Ben Bishop's for 6 hours. Like that got a bit heavyweight as well. I'm not going to tell you what we got up to, but it was pretty entertaining. Yeah, he's a good guy. Yeah. Well, no, I think that's it. I don't have any other questions. Anything for me, or how long have we done? Did we beat an hour and 15 minutes?
Oh yeah. Where are we at?
136.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's all right then.
That's good. Well, thank you.
I wouldn't like to get boring, boys.
Oh, no, it definitely wasn't boring. But thank you. Thank you again. And for anybody that wants to check out all your products, where do we find it? Can they order it?
So, we've got a really great little girl that we work with up in Idaho. So we ship a lot of stuff here now. You can buy them off the website, so they come pretty quick now. As long as Lindsay's got gear there, she gets it out real sharp. We also work with great girl Amy at Branded Rock Canyon. We make Loopholes Bipod. You can buy that. They're branded, I think. Proof, we're working with them. Christensen Arms, Weatherby, Adams, good lad. So a lot of the top, Jarrett Rifles.
I've never heard of any of these people.
No, but anyway, there's a lot of people selling our gear now.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't have to buy. I mean, great, they do buy it from us.
Spartan Precision.
Spartan Precision, so if you go type javelinbipod.com.
Okay, time out. We got to go back. This is confusing. I'm a dumb American.
Yeah.
Why is it Javelin Bipod
Because
and Spartan Precision?
So Spartan Precision Equipment is the company name. Javelin Bipod is the first bipod, the hunting bipod. We also do the Spartan 300. Yeah, so it's an easy one because people tend to type Javelin. So they can type Spartan Precision Equipment and get there.
Okay.
But it's easier just to type javelinbipod.com and it'll take you straight there.
No, it's not. I can't spell my own name.
Spartan Precision.
Javelin?
Anyway, or put carbon fibre bipod or magnetic bipod. I'm sure it'll take you there. Yeah. Or phone Cody. He'll send 3,000.
Don't do that.
No, it's very easy to find us, but it's more and more places in the States now stocking them, which is good. And it's good. We need to support those guys. They've supported us. Yeah, two-way street.
Alrighty, Rob. Thank you so much again.
Pleasure.
It was awesome.
Good. Pleased to be here, guys.
All right, go check out Spartan Precision and Javelin bipods.
Spartan Javelin.
Javelin.
Spartan Precision Equipment, Javelin bipod. You'll find us.
There you go.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Today's episode brought to you by OnX Maps. OnX Maps, the most trusted private public mapping system available. And anymore, I don't go anywhere without my OnX Maps downloaded and ready to go. The OnX Hunt app, available for your iPhone, which turns your smartphone into a handheld GPS that works with or without service. With over 400 map overlays, the possibilities are endless. I love the ability to switch from topo to satellite to hybrid modes, allowing you to actually see the terrain. The OnX Hunt app also allows you to share locations with your buddies extremely easily too. I find myself using this feature all the time. I love that feature, being able to share locations with buddies, whether you're hunting or just doing whatever. You can also log into your OnX account from multiple sources. So it means you can scout from your desktop or your tablet and then go explore with confidence on your smartphone or your GPS. OnX membership is a must-have for any serious Western hunter. So crucial these days to hunt with confidence and know where you stand with OnX membership. Save 20% off your membership when you sign up or you just renew with the Rich Outdoors promo code TRO. This episode brought to you by iSocialBoost. iSocialBoost is an Instagram growth tool that can help you grow your tribe in an organic way. iSocialBoost has been helping me grow the Backcountry Fuel Box Instagram for the last couple of months, and I have been blown away with just almost over 7,000 followers now, and they're helping me convert followers into subscribers. Whether you're a small business or just want to grow your personal following, iSocialBoost can help you get thousands of real followers that actually fit your brand. I've actually been so impressed with them that I'm having them start to grow the podcast Instagram as well and helping get exposure to the podcast for all those people that maybe don't even know it exists. Check them out. If you want to give them a try, you will not be disappointed. Head over to isocialboost.com. Use the promo code TRO and you'll get 80% off your first week. They're so sure that you're going to love it. They're basically giving it to you for free. Go check it out if you want to grow your small business or just grow your personal brand. Instagram is a great place to do it. Check it out. Hey guys, thanks for listening, and we hope you enjoyed the show and maybe even picked up a few tips along the way. Join us right here every Thursday morning for more interviews and great hunting tips. And be sure to help us out by leaving a review on iTunes. For more information about this show and the rest of our guests, check out the show notes for links and additional resources on our website, www.therichoutdoors.net.